Hey guys, this is Ben from Road to VR. I just got my Oculus Rift DK2 recently and I wanted to put it through the paces. Particularly, I really wanted to test the performance of the positional tracking camera, and so I set up a little demonstration here to do that. What I did was I set a normal camera on top of a tripod, and then I mounted the DK2 camera on top of it. So you're basically seeing the DK2's camera view up there at the top of the screen. And so really I'm just checking to see how far, what is the extent of the space that I can track. And that's represented inside this demo with this black bounding box, the little black lines you can see there. That's basically the camera saying this is how far I can see you. And what happens when you go outside of that area is you maintain rotational tracking on the headset from the gyro and the accelerometer inside, but you lose positional tracking, which is the actual movement of your head, forward, backward, up and down in space. And generally what happens when you go outside that space is the camera says, okay, I lost the head at this point, so I'm going to keep it stuck there, and I'll keep the rotation going. And then when it comes back into the volume, I will quickly reacquire it and put it where I think it is now. So basically, if you go out of the space just slightly and come back in, right in the same spot, you won't really even notice. But of course, if you go out, up high and then come back in down low, you're going to get a head jump. And they're kind of the rules for deciding how best to handle that is still being decided by developers, and Oculus has a number of recommendations, but it's still kind of an evolving thing to decide what's best. But really the amount of space that you have here when you have your camera set up correctly, which is far enough away and at the right angle, is impressive. So right here I'm checking to see how the frame rate of the camera handles quick motions. And as quick as I'm going to reasonably move my head, it keeps up with no problem, which is excellent. So Oculus has spent a lot of time perfecting this, and the performance is really outstanding. This is the kind of performance or the kind of functionality that was promised with devices like the Kinect, but it just couldn't really deliver perhaps because they're based on visible light, whereas the Oculus Rift DK2 camera uses IR light. And to track the headset, of course, there's an array of infrared LEDs inside the headset, which the camera is picking up, which we can't see through visible light. And that's why the cap on the camera of the DK2 is reflective. It reflects all visible light and lets through infrared light. Actually, you can twist that cap and take it off and see that it's not much more than a pretty normal webcam, a high-performance webcam, but a normal webcam nonetheless that plugs in. So here I'm checking to see how far I can rotate without losing tracking, and it's nearly 180 degrees, which is really quite impressive, for a single camera system. Here I'm getting really aggressive and punishing with how much of the IR LEDs I'm covering and occluding, and yet the system handles it really well, especially in the case of things moving quickly past it. It kind of ignores them very effectively. For more slower moving objects, you'll see at some point I get my arms going a little bit more slowly there. It can jump at those points. So they've really tuned it nicely so that in case a player happens to swing their arm quickly in front of the headset, they probably won't see any impact on the performance of the tracking, which is really impressive. And even when I'm going crazy here and swinging my arms around wildly, you get a jump every now and again, but overall the performance is just phenomenal. This is 99.9% just working, no problem. The really cool thing is this is a zero calibration experience. You just turn on the camera, set it where you need it to, point it in the right direction, and you're good to go. There's no playing with values, nothing like that. It just works, which is really quite amazing.